Person goes on to say, I feel like many people in this country are reaching that point of rock bottom and recognize that we need to change, but many are still caught in addiction to fear and anger and contempt and threat and not really ready yet to recognize our individual responsibilities to do better. I feel like that speaks to a lot of the work that you and the community mediation centers are doing. What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure I heard a question there, but I hear thoughts. And my overall thought is that everyone is saying so many amazing things. I'm taking notes and wanting to respond to each one. So I will try to respond to the one that you've put in the center, which is the point of rupture and rock bottom. I think reaching rock bottom is very personal for communities and for individuals. And I just think of that there are sections in cities that people are killed for no reason at all. And as long as it's not certain sections of the cities, no one pays attention to it. And what I'm reminded of is the Washington, D.C. sniper, where all of a sudden sections that were predominantly white, predominantly wealthy, were under threat for random shooting. They were willing to say that's rock bottom. Well, why wasn't rock bottom what goes on every day in the 7th Ward and the 8th Ward? So to me, when I hear that question of for different people, and I think you said the word addiction, you may not have, to fear, anger, contempt, and threat, is that sometimes that's all you have to hold on to. And especially if you have been someone and is someone who is consistently marginalized and disrespected and humiliated, then all you do have is that anger. And so the idea of being asked to give up that anger, the idea of being asked to give up that contempt, is you're asking to go back to what Tim said at the beginning, identity. You're asking me to give up some of my identity. And anger and contempt is passed from generation to generation. So I want to make sure that as we talk about what the communication centers do, we don't strive to have people understand each other. No disrespect to St. Francis, but that is impossible. What we ask them to strive to is to recognize the humanity in each other, which is different. To recognize that, respect that, and strive to understand the need they're putting before us. What are they really asking from us so we can compromise? And when I think of compromise, and this may be totally untrue, I just break things into Latin. And so I'm hearing with promise. So we're going to come and eat each other's promise. I promise to respect you. You promise to respect me. And we do that with this promise or with compromise. And so I did want to build on what Nathan said about that is a value we share. And I think in that process of sharing that value, we must create the space that recognizes the trauma and the institutional biases that continue to not be in awe of each other's humanity, to not be filled by each other's humanity, so that we can all be stronger together. And that this is something that we've been working on in response to the Civil Rights Act, which said if there's a disagreement, disruption, or disturbance among anyone in the community, then everyone in the community is in that disagreement, disruption, disturbance. So I go back to the sniper. Why, when certain neighborhoods are randomly getting shot, we must pull out all the stops to stop that. But other neighborhoods where people are getting randomly shot, well, you shouldn't have driven there. Well, you choose to live there. That difference is facilitated by our institutions and the individuals in them. So it's not an either or. We must help address the conflict that's that's in front if the people are ready to address it. And step back and say, how do we revolutionize that conflict so that those in it can take the next step and the next step and keep going deeper until they get to that place that others have talked about of transformation, transforming themselves and transforming the systems around them that help them to believe they're not worthy, that help them to believe there is no help, that help them to believe that holding on to fear, anger, contempt, and threat is all they have. And to let go of that means letting go of everything. And until we get to that place, we must go at it one appropriate step at a time based on the credibility of the person holding the space, invited in by someone with credibility, in that place of attitude that I'm ready for this, not that, this, and now let's see what we can make of it. So I hope I answered that person's question. If not, please email me. We can talk offline.